But let's get started this morning. Enough from me. I'm delighted to welcome the Minister for Children and Young People, Clare Haughey MSP, for Rutherglen. My previously scribbled notes had suggested that I should say something like, Minister, I hope you've enjoyed a rather quiet time during the February break in the Scottish Parliament. Not much has been happening in Scottish politics in the last few weeks, Minister. But seriously, you have a very busy schedule. It has been changed somewhat in the last couple of weeks, and so we're just really pleased and delighted that you're able to squeeze in and address the conference today. Whilst disappointed, we fully understand and appreciate that you now do not have the time to answer some questions from some colleagues who had previously submitted questions for you today, but we fully appreciate and understand that. Minister, we know you trained initially as a mental health nurse, and you worked as a clinical nurse manager, and you also spent some time in sunny Australia before you were being enticed back to the liquid sunshine of Rutherglen, where you became the MSP for Rutherglen in 2016. So given your professional background, it was fitting, no surprise, that your first ministerial appointment was holding the important portfolio for mental health between 2018 and 2021. But it's in your newish role as Children and Young People Minister that we are just delighted to welcome you today and to hear your views and your aspirations for Scotland's youngest citizens and those who work with them. Colleagues, please give a warm welcome, third sector welcome, to the Minister for Children and Young People. Thank you.
To be here with you this morning, and I wanted to thank you all for making the trip here today to the beautiful Glasgow Royal Concert Hall for this annual conference hosted by the Cora Foundation. And I know and appreciate just how hard each and every one of you works within your teams and organisations to support children, young people, families and communities across Scotland, regularly going above and beyond what's expected. And I wanted to say my own personal thanks to you for the work that you do. Since 2016, through CYPFEIF and ALEC, we have invested just over £100 million of core funding to the third sector, supporting 116 organisations, many of whom are represented here today. And today is special, not just as it marks the first time since 2019 that we've been able to gather in person, but we're celebrating 7 years of vital work delivered by you through this fund, helping hundreds of thousands of children and families and communities across Scotland, and that is certainly worth celebrating. I'd like to just pause for a moment here and say once again a thank you to everyone in this room for your vital work. The Cora Foundation kindly provide me with regular updates on the progress of CYPFEIF and ALEC, and I was amazed to hear the number of children, young people and adults and families that were supported in the first 6 months of this financial year alone. Crucial support being delivered by organisations like the Child Poverty Group, who reached 580,000 children and young people. Play Scotland, 37,000 children and young people, as well as 30,000 adults. The Scottish Youth Parliament, 690,000 children and young people. I could go on. I was also moved again by testimonials that these really do give a voice to the people supported, enriching our understanding of the positive outcomes delivered by your organisations via this funding. And I'm going to read some of those quotes. From Mellow Parenting, one testimonial reads, "I never thought I would learn so much from this. I never talked to my daughter before because she's non-verbal, and now I realise how important that is." From LGBT Scotland, "This course has enhanced my knowledge around non-binary issues and language and how best to structure the supportive conversations with LGBT young people." In their most recent report, Cora also highlighted the many important wider benefits enabled by the funding: innovation, building knowledge, partnership working, non-financial support. And the last point, often forgotten by funders, but so important for service users requiring care and support out with the remit of CYPFEIF and ALEC. The people of Scotland are rightly at the heart of everything we do collectively, and I continue to be impressed by the breadth of the work achieved through this fund since 2016. Spanning 9 or so different policy areas under my portfolio, the fund has supported crucial work like our GIRFEC indicators, implementation of the UNCRC, and improving parenting capacity and family support, to name but a few. Many of the 116 funded organisations are well known to me. Organisations like Quarriers, who provide practical care and support for vulnerable children, adults and families. Article 12 in Scotland, who work to build capacity and social capital through access to formal and non-formal learning and development opportunities. Children in Scotland, who create solutions, provide support and develop positive change across all areas affecting children in Scotland. And Sahelia, who promote mental well-being by combating the effects of discrimination and abuse, reducing the stigma of mental health, and improving access to mainstream services. I'd also like to mention Scottish families affected by drugs and alcohol, who were announced as one of the 10 recent winners of the UK GSK Impact Awards. Of course, these are challenging times and times of unprecedented change, and the cost of living is impacting the third sector in ways replicated across public and private sectors. Costs are up on energy, fuel, supplies, staff wages, and we recognise the strain that this is placing on charities and third sector bodies. And we're looking at a range of measures to help. And I was delighted that we could increase the CYPFEIF and ALEC funding by 5% this financial year. We know too the disproportionate impact high inflation has on the most vulnerable in our society, driving increased demand for support services within the community, adding pressures to already stretched third sector services. Understandably, there have been calls made on governments across the globe each day for more support, and the Scottish Government will continue to respond as positively as we can. The Scottish Council for Voluntary Organisations, SCVO as it's maybe more commonly known, estimate that the public sector as a whole invests about £1.8 billion each year to support the work of charities and social enterprises. And around £500 million of this comes from Scottish Government via a broad range of programmes, including those supporting in community empowerment, mental health and wellbeing, children and families and health and social care. And we recognise that your sector needs stability of funding, and we'll continue to invest as widely as possible. But in the current volatile economic circumstances, the coming year again will be challenging. Charities and other third sector organisations will be afforded some protection from rising bills via the Energy Bill Relief Scheme and the follow-on Energy Bills Discount Scheme, which will run from the 1st of April to the 31st of March 2024. And we're also investing £21.9 million in third sector infrastructure and programmes that provide backbone support and development to the wider sector. We have committed to increasing multi-year funding where possible, and we know this helps you plan longer term and stabilises finances. And I'm also aware of work underway to improve the collaborative process to funding and how this can be improved, such as via the principles of positive partnership developed by Scottish Government and the voluntary sector. These principles, as well as offering practical guidance, include actions that both parties can take to work towards successful relationships, and if problems arise, tackle them in a productive way. And I understand that many of you will be waiting to hear on outcomes of the children, young people, family and adult learning third sector funding process. We obviously didn't learn from our previous experience of not giving grant funding long names. The fund received a significant number of applications from a wide range of organisations, and we're grateful for your continued patience while we carefully consider all the information related to the CYPFEIF assessment process. We hope to make an announcement on funding arrangements very soon, and that the 3 months CYPFEIF and ALEC funding extension goes some way to supporting your organisations to continue your vital work through this time. I understand today's event includes the opportunity for a Q&A, but you know, as previously explained by Ian, due to parliamentary pressures, of which I'm sure there are very few, I won't be able to participate today, but hopefully that's something that we can do in the future. However, please be assured that the answers to your questions will be issued to you via the Cora Foundation, and my officials are here today for the rest of today's event. They're friendly, so they tell me, and approachable, so please do go and introduce yourselves to them. They would be very happy to hear from you, and I know they've already started to have conversations with you around the room, but you know, those conversations should continue during the day, and I'll be really keen to hear feedback from them. But before I go, I would like to just give a special thanks to Lindsay Brown and Catriona Henderson from the Cora Foundation for their continued professionalism and support. It really is appreciated. To the conference organisers, it looks like you've got a really packed programme. And thank you once again for inviting me to speak, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of today's event.